classes. I'm doing this off an iPad with an iPhone because I'm on our, family vacation that we've had planned for months, folks. So look, do me a favor, as you pop on, I need you to check your subscription. I need you to hit your notification bell, hit the like button, drop in comments, tell me who you are and where you are watching from. If you guys remember, a couple of days ago, before we left for this trip to Florida to see our youngest son in the military, I pointed out to you that there was some insane, abnormal weather going on in Texas. Good morning, Hop and See. I showed you guys that. We talked about it. Fast forward to July 3rd and then July 4th overnight, what happened? We have over 100 people missing in Texas this morning, folks. 20 of those are children with a historic flood. They're calling a once in a lifetime. We don't know what happened, but I'm going to show you what happened. And this is going to be uncomfortable for some of you who, like me, during the Maui floods, did not know that our government, good morning, sweetheart, could manipulate our weather. I did not know it. When I flew to Maui and I was exposed to something called NexRad, my mind blew. Because all of my life, I figured anytime we had horrific weather, it was just weather. I didn't know that they had, they had frequencies and they had radars that could literally lock a storm in place and not let it move. I did not know this. It was very hard for me to comprehend it. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you how Texas is paying to have their weather manipulated. I'm going to prove that to you, but I'm going to show you some information from 3 weeks ago, some information from 3 days ago, and then I'm going to show you what happened overnight, and we're going to pray for Texas. So let's start with, what was happening in Texas, say even 3 weeks ago. Let me find that for you guys.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Not only have we had some very significant weather pass through Texas over the last 24 hours, but there's a lot more weather forecasted for the southern plains, including Dallas, Oklahoma City, Wichita, basically this big area near I-20 and Highway 287. But take a look at what was taking place all day yesterday and today with the NexRad radar towers. Because if you notice, the weather never seems to go near where this NexRad tower in Texas is going off. Almost as if it's practicing some sort of NexRad magic, where these towers are seemingly pushing the storms in certain directions and not allowing them to go in other directions. Now, I have to say this in order to post these videos on certain websites.
Okay, so the NexRad will push a storm and it will hold a storm. And yes, that is very doable, folks. Just simply science, okay, frequency. So that was 3 weeks ago, okay? Now let me show you what it looked like over the radar last night on Texas. The storm couldn't move. The storm didn't move. That was over several hours of radar. It just couldn't move. Now, they had all their little science words for it, right? Why the storm couldn't move. Here's one. It says, this storm west of Round Rock, Texas, is just sitting in one spot, constantly dumping water. The NWS has had to issue a flash flood emergency as they've seen 3 to 7 inches of rain with another 2 to 5 expected. Here's one. It said, oh wow, very little upper level winds to push the system out of the region, allowing for more congealing and training of heavy rain. Over 7 inches have fallen in Burnett, Texas. Then somebody else said, this is all on TikTok, Twitter and X. I don't think y'all understand Texas, especially the hill country. I live 27 minutes from Kerrville And when it rains here, the water does not soak, it pools. We have what's called flash flooding. So literally within minutes, you can be underwater. It has been raining on and off the past few days, and the ground has already become saturated. Thank you, Hop and See. Yeah, guys, please hit the like button for me so that it spreads this out there. Then we have another guy that says the term wave of water was used by authorities to describe the ongoing flash flooding across Texas Hill Country. One river gauge near Comfort, Texas, along the Guadalupe River, rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. Okay, so it's a great question, Hoppin'. See, she said, why were they having, camps, campgrounds, camps for children in flood areas? I think we have to understand this. Okay, so they're calling this a once in a lifetime flood. This area has never flooded like that. This area has never had water like this dumped in that area. You have rivers. Well, when you have summer camps in places like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Georgia, we need water or we'll die, right? Like we overheat. So if you're gonna have a summer camp for kids, you're gonna put it by a river or a lake where these children can cool off and have summer activities. Stephen works for a ministry in Louisiana, and there are ponds and places to swim all around this ministry where people bring children during the summer. The reason is the heat. Like, if we don't have water activities, we have nothing, because we cannot withstand the heat without the water. If that makes sense to some of you who maybe don't live in our southern conditions down here. You just don't understand the heat that we are forced to live in. So just as a reminder, please do not get irritated about the reflection of my glasses or the background noise. I am on vacation with my family, with my soldier. We are in Florida. My husband was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm exactly 7 days ago. And this trip had been on the books for months. There's nothing we can do right now. I'm doing everything I can to get him into a neurosurgeon to see how they're going to go forward. But we're going to continue to live our lives until then. We're just taking it a little more careful, you know what I'm saying? Keeping him out of the heat and that kind of stuff. So please pray for my family. That's all I'm going to ask. All right, so moving on. There was a camp called Mystic that was along the river. And at 3 o'clock this morning, while we were all sleeping, post July 4th, the entire camp was being torn apart by the river. They're missing over 13 little girls, to my understanding. Now, that makes the hair on the back of my head stand up. Good morning, Kent. Mainly because of what we dealt with in Maui with children, and how easy it is for them to use a natural disaster to hide horrific behavior. And I am just going to say this, though. We're just going to keep praying, folks, because it is really bad. It says at least 24 deaths after the catastrophic flooding on the Guadalupe River in central Texas. All right, let me keep going so I can read this news article. According to our sister station, KSAT, authorities have urged residents to shelter in place, and those living near creeks and streams should move to higher ground. This may be a once in a lifetime flood. I love how they say that. These floods are not natural. They've never happened before. Right now, Texas has legislation moving through. I don't know if they shot it down or not, but it was to stop them cloud seeding. It was to stop these government agencies and privately owned businesses from dumping chemicals into Texas skies to cause it to rain. Right now, there are 20 campers that are unaccounted for. And that number could change at any moment, folks. It's really bad. These are young girls. 236 people have either been rescued are evacuated since the flood hit. Of those, 167 were helicoptered to get assistance. Authorities do not have an estimate of how many people are missing at this time due to the fact it was a holiday weekend. You've got people coming and you've got people going, right? Like nobody knows a real head count. They did confirm between 23 and 25 people are missing from Camp Mystic near Hunt. That is the girls' camp, okay? That is a girls' camp, and it is a very popular camp. I'm gonna let you guys hear the news.
With families who have driven in from all over the state, some from North Texas, some from out of state, trying to see their children and get a chance to wrap their arms around their daughters. This evacuation process has been rather slow. We're told that the camp has a capacity to hold 750 people. And the problem is a lot of the roads in this area are impassable. And so they have been airlifting the girls out, evacuating by helicopter. Some have been coming in via bus. We also saw a military vehicle earlier bringing those girls in the back. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick did announce just a few hours ago that more than 20 girls are missing. We know at least 2 are from Dallas, but the full list has not been made public, so it is possible that there are even more from our region. We know this camp and its brother camp, La Junta, are very popular with North Texas families. We actually spoke with a couple of parents from North Texas earlier, a mother whose son is a counselor at La Junta and a father whose daughter is one of these girls at Camp Mystic. Both said their children were accounted for, but they talked about the agony of trying to get information today and waiting to find out when and how they could be reunited with their children.
We heard from them how bad it was and that they were getting evacuated. And we saw pictures of Camp Mystic, could see them at 3 o'clock in the morning walking through water. It's scary. You know, it's, when you send your kids to these camps, you just pray nothing goes wrong. And then you hear of a historical flood that's going on. Your imagination kind of runs away with you. But, all you can do is have faith and just hope everything's going to be okay.
Once we are able to get some of those roads clear, when the rain stops, then we have 10 buses ready to go in and pick up the kids, and we'll find a point and announce it at that time where you can be reunited with your child and hug them hard, because you know they're frightened.
It's truly horrific what is happening at Camp Mystic, folks. I can't even imagine. You send your child to Camp Mystic, right? Where maybe you went as a young woman, maybe your mother went. This is a very historical, popular place to send young women. And then out of nowhere, a river that has always been docile overfloods its banks. There is nothing more damaging than a wall of water, than a wall of flame. And it's really horrific. So I will say this, folks. They're confirming anywhere from 20 to 25 campers. It said early this morning, 107 Texas Game Wardens started trying to get access to Camp Mystic. So even before news and family members knew what were happening, Texas Game Wardens were trying to get into there. They knew there were children there, right? They were able to make it to the camp shortly after midday and started removing children from the camp. In the afternoon press conference, Kerr County Sheriff Larry L. Lethia confirms right now there are 13 fatalities from the flooding in the county, but there will most likely be more. He also said it is still raining and they aren't quite sure exactly when it will stop, but hopefully it shouldn't last much longer. Here's what I want y'all to understand. In November of 2024, Texas put forth a bill to be entitled an act, and this is what it said. It said chapter 303, weather modification and control prohibited. Section 303.001, definition. In this chapter, weather modification and control means the injection, release, or dispersion by any means of a chemical compound, substance, or apparatus for the purpose of affecting temperature, weather, or the intensity of sunlight. Section 303.002, prohibition on weather modification and control. A person may not engage in weather modification and control. Section 303.003, enforcement. A person commits an offense if the person violates this chapter. An offense under this chapter is a Class A misdemeanor. Now, I don't know if this passed, okay? I just found where they had put forth the legislation, like Florida, like Tennessee, like Louisiana. We are tired with you turning on your next rad and then causing weather to stall. The same weather that you just seeded with silver iodide and graphene to cause it to rain. So now you caused the rain to start and then you trap it in a spot. Essentially, you know what it happens to the rest of us little people. But then I found a site, I'll put all of this in description of the video for you, where Texas talks about the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation have conducted independent evaluations of ongoing cloud seeding activities in Texas. A statistical analysis of seeded clouds in Texas during 2005 totaled 494, estimated that an additional 272 acre-feet of water was generated by the seeding of single-cell thunderstorms. So they admit it. There's an entire website that talks about, and this is a Texas government website, that talks about how comparing the seeded single storms with neighborhoods' untreated clouds revealed that seeded storms lived 57% longer, covered 29% more area, and precipitation mass was 88% greater than clouds we had not seeded. So in other words, clouds that were seeded were larger, they stayed longer, and they rained 88% more than clouds that had not been seeded. So you can look at what's happening in Texas any way that you want. You can say that the government owes these people because they caused this issue, or you can be somebody that's got your head in the sand and believes this is not happening. But when you find a website on a Texas government page that admits that when they seed clouds, the clouds are larger, they rain longer, and they stay in place longer. They don't just go away like regular rain clouds. They don't come in and rain and then leave, because see, they can't. They're artificially seeded. So they're gonna make little baby raindrops. They have to. The chemicals in them are going to come out. So what you're seeing in Texas, friends, is, well, lay it at the feet of the Texas government. It says here, we use federal funds to assess the long-running rain enhancement program of the CRMWD in the Big Spring area. And this one program went on from 87 to 90. The TNRCC performed a series of cloud seeding experiments, which produced evidence that timely seeding with silver iodide enables convective clouds to live longer, process more cloud water, and produce significantly more rainfall. I don't know about you, but that sounds like to me, when you see something like this over a bunch of children at summer camp, and it's bigger, and it's raining longer, and it's not dissipating like a regular rainstorm, that maybe, just maybe, somebody dropped some silver iodide in that puppy. I'm just saying, folks. They tell you what they're doing. And then you come across people on X this morning saying, oh, you just don't understand the soil. You know, the soil can't absorb that much water. It's just a rainstorm. No, baby, this is not a rainstorm. They've been practicing on you people in Texas. They literally said it. That 29-year cloud seeding program has revealed a 29-year cloud seeding program has been going on in Texas. Did you even know about it, people in Texas? Did you know that when they seed clouds, they don't move and they rain longer and they get more water than they naturally would have? These are not normal storms. They tell you what they're doing. You're either going to listen to them, tell you that they are putting silver iodide in these storms, which makes them bigger, makes them sit in one place longer and drop more rain, or you're going to go back to believing this was an act of God. You're exactly right, Keith. Then you turn on HARP. Yeah. Guys, look, I know it's not a comfortable thing to think that your state knew this was happening, but it says here, a similar study of rainfall data from a 5-year cloud seeding program conducted for the city of San Angelo from 1985 to 1989 found that rainfall during the months of seeding in the area where the seeding was focused increased 25 to 42%. It says that this is a rain enhancement program, and the next step would be to identify the source or sources of funding to cover the expense of cloud seeding. Y'all know who they can go to, right? Gil Bates. Turn the letters around. Once this is accomplished, the individual or organization sponsoring the effort needs to draw up a set of specifications, giving details on how the operation is to be conducted. What type of aircraft? What type of solution? The state of Texas and I will put all of this in the description of the video, weather.modification at tdlr.texas.gov can provide a generic set of specifications that can be adapted to a specific region and time. These specs are then provided to potential contractors whose responses in the form of bids can lead to further negotiations. If a contractor is chosen, it may be the contractor's responsibility to obtain a weather modification license and permit. Don't tell me it is not real. When your state is issuing weather modification permits and licenses to anybody that applies for it, Texas, you've got a problem. Now, I'm on vacation. If you guys would like to get our newsletter or participate in our Zooms, I will put it in the top of comments. We do not get paid for this. So anything you send, you get a newsletter, you get to Zoom with me, but it's you helping us continue to do this work. Please make sure that you put your email in the memo. We're going to pray right now over these children that are missing. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, we know that man is sinful and that he will inevitably think that he is smarter than you and the beautiful, wonderful world that you created for us. Father, this is the real damage being done to our planet. The same people that tell us we should be afraid of weather and the Green New Deal are the same people jacking with the weather. Lord, we ask you to send your angels out to protect these children. Lord, these people need a move of God so large. Now move this storm out, Father. Blow it with the wind from your lungs that created life. Destroy the weapon of the enemy, Father, and protect those who are in this moment grieving more than they've ever grieved before. We need a miracle for the relocation of these children. In Jesus' most precious name, amen. And that is our weapon, friends. Don't forget it. Our weapons are wisdom and knowledge, but the words that come out of our mouth are powerful. All right? We know what they're doing, and now we're going to fight them. We're going to spread that knowledge. I just told you that Texas issues permits to people to make these storms do insane things. Parents of children in Texas, you should be furious. You should be asking your governor what is actually going on in my country, in my state.
Tesla demonstrated wireless power at the 1893 World's Fair. He lit phosphorescent tubes without wires. The crowd was amazed. Tesla believed Earth could conduct electricity like a circuit. The secret was the ionosphere, an electrically charged atmospheric layer starting 50 miles up. By pumping electromagnetic energy into this layer, he could create a planet-wide resonance system.
A planet-wide resonance system? Oy vey. Hello, tech support? Yeah, my human is speaking nerd again. I need a translation.
Well, think of it like pushing a child on a swing.
Guppy.
Think of it like pushing a guppy on a swing. Small pushes timed right create large sustained motion. Tesla wanted to push the ionosphere at a frequency matching the Earth's resonance. This would create stable waves circling the planet. Earth resonates at 7.83 hertz, and this was proven in 1954. Tesla suspected this, but wasn't certain. He needed financing to continue. JP Morgan initially funded the project, but withdrew when he realized Tesla wanted to provide free electricity worldwide. Morgan asked, if anyone can draw the power, where do we put the meter? Without Morgan's support,
So we know that Tesla was actually the one that created, all of the systems we're currently using, they are using to cost us money and control the weather. That's not what Tesla wanted with all of that. But you heard how he's talking about the Earth resonates on like a 7.63 hertz. That is also the same hertz level that resonates off the island of Maui. It is why so many people love to go to Maui, because they call it the heartbeat of the earth, which is why they attacked it with their weather modification and their fires and stuff like that. Folks, listen to me. We're in a battle for humanity right now. What they're doing in Texas, what they did in Texas with these manufactured rain clouds, somebody somewhere should be held accountable for the fact that there are now all these children missing. No, Lisa, none of us need anything. You need to wake up, sweetie. Funny. I always find it funny that people that want to argue about what's going on with me are usually those people who are already on some form of antidepressant, because you already know something's wrong. Thank you. I'm perfectly fine. You guys be blessed. If you'd like to get our newsletter, support our channel, I'll put it in the top of comments. We have just like a day and a half left with my son, and it's time for us to get busy. Love you guys so much. Be blessed.